Today's story is about Haley. She says she loves her husband. She meant it until a kiss shattered everything. One kiss in a file room, one business trip. And now she's hiding a secret that doesn't feel like a mistake. Let's talk about it.
I'm not a bad person. At least, I've always told myself that. I never set out to hurt anyone, especially not Ben, the man who held my hand through 3 quiet, steady years of marriage. He loved me with a kind of gentleness that felt like home. He never had to ask how I was feeling. One look, and he just knew. Knew when I was tired, when I was sad, when I needed nothing but a silent hug. And I loved him. I truly did. But there's something I've never said out loud. Something I buried so deep, even I pretended it wasn't real. Until today, I cheated. And what terrifies me the most is that I don't regret it, not even a little, because I've become addicted. Addicted to the way I feel when I'm with him, the man who isn't my husband. I'm 29, 3 years into a gentle marriage. Ben is kind, constant, safe, but passion, that part of us slowly slipped away. And then he walked in. My new coworker, Jake, tall, cold, untouchable, the type who doesn't smile unless it's necessary. But with me, something clicked. It started with stolen glances, lingering eye contact. Then one afternoon, we bumped into each other in the file room. A file dropped. He bent down. So did I. Our faces were inches apart. I could feel his breath. And then he kissed me, not soft, not hesitant. It was deep, urgent. I felt his body brush against mine, the heat, the tension, and just as his hips pressed against the thin fabric of my skirt, I stopped. I pulled back. My mind screamed, "No!" I mumbled something, I don't even remember what, and rushed out. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept touching my lips, remembering the weight of Jake's kiss. It haunted me. I swore it would never happen again, and it didn't. Until the Chicago trip. Endless meetings, never-ending dinners, and polite smiles that never quite reached the eyes. On the last night, we shared drinks with clients. When the night ended, Jake offered to walk me back to my room. I nodded. Maybe slower than usual, but I said yes. It started like nothing. Just 2 coworkers walking side by side down a quiet hallway after dinner. Only the echo of our shoes on the floor. But inside me, a storm was screaming. Outside my hotel room, we stopped. The hallway lights were dim. A soft yellow glow traced the curve of his jaw. I felt his hand brush mine, just barely. Then he leaned in. Not to kiss, just to whisper, "If you tell me to stop, I will." His breath warmed my skin. My fingers trembled on the key card. I opened the door. And I didn't stop him. He stepped in and closed the door gently behind him, like sealing a secret. We stood in the low light, just breathing. No words, just unbearable closeness. His jacket came off first, fabric whispering against fabric. I kicked off my heels. The soft clatter echoed like a heartbeat. He reached for me, slow, steady, his hand at the small of my back, pulling me close until our foreheads touched. "Say it," he whispered again. I didn't. He kissed me, not like the file room. This was slower, heavier, like he was learning me, one breath at a time. My body melted into his fingers tangled in my hair. We stumbled back, blindly finding the edge of the bed. He sat first, pulling me into his lap. My skirt ruffled around us, our breath caught somewhere between our chests. He traced a line up my thigh with his knuckle. I shivered. His lips moved from my mouth to my jaw to the soft space just below my ear. I gasped. His hands were everywhere, but never rushed. He moved like he had all the time in the world. Like this moment had waited far too long. The night swallowed us whole. Clothes, forgotten, sheets, tangled half off the bed. The lamp stayed on, just enough to see his silhouette above me. His chest heaved with every breath, his lips trailing slowly along my collarbone, like he was memorizing it with every kiss. Our shadows danced on the wall, 2 figures dissolving into one. And in that room, with city lights flickering just beyond the window, and the air thick with everything we'd tried not to say. We stopped pretending. We didn't talk. We didn't need to. Every breath, every moan, every touch was a sentence we'd never say out loud. After that night in Chicago, I told myself it was the wine, the music, the city that never stopped moving. I told myself it was just a moment, a slip. I avoided him for days, refused to meet his gaze in the office, took the stairs instead of the elevator, blocked his number, then unblocked it. Twice, but then his foot brushing mine under the conference table, a lingering glance over coffee, the way he pressed me against the stairwell wall one afternoon, his lips crashing into mine like he couldn't breathe without it. And I didn't push him away. Not really. So when he followed me to the parking garage that Friday evening, I didn't ask why. Didn't stop him, didn't stop myself. The car door slammed shut behind me, dark, tight, air thick with what we both tried to deny. I sank to my knees, didn't speak, didn't need to. His fingers tangled in my hair, not soft, but certain, guiding me, owning me, and I let him. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to feel something reckless, something dangerous, something that wasn't routine dinners and lukewarm kisses. My phone buzzed in my purse. I kept moving, kept breathing through my nose, palms pressed to his thighs, even as tears pricked my lashes. Tears I pretended were from the effort, not the shame. Another buzz. This time I looked. Where are you? My husband. I swallowed the sob rising in my throat. Typed back with one hand. Still at work. Might be late. Then I let the phone slip from my fingers, fall to the floor, along with the last thread of the life I used to have. Minutes later, he pulled me up, kissed me like he had something to prove, like the last time in Chicago wasn't enough, and then he pushed inside me. Deep, deliberate. The leather groaned beneath us. My body arched, welcoming the sin. I was close, so close. His breath hot in my ear, his hand gripping the back of my neck. And just as I shattered, spine tight, mouth open in a silent cry, something fell. A soft flutter. A photo. I blinked, my body still shaking, my lips still parted from the last moan I hadn't finished. And there it was, lying face up on the car floor. Jake in a tuxedo, her in a white dress, smiling, their wedding day. My breath caught, pleasure still buzzing in my limbs, but now it tasted like acid. Jake looked down, saw it, didn't say a word. Neither did I, because sometimes the worst kind of betrayal is realizing you weren't the only one lying. There's something I've never dared to say out loud. It's not that I don't love my husband anymore. It's that I feel invisible in my own marriage. He still calls me his wife, but it's like he doesn't really see me. And Jake, with just one look, he made me feel alive again. So tell me, does that make me a cheater or just a woman desperately clinging to the feeling of being seen? I know this probably sounds so wrong, but if love is wrong, why does being with Jake feel so damn right? I'm lost, confused. I honestly don't know what's right anymore. If you were me, what would you do? Please, I need real advice.
This is the perfect example of emotional conflict. Love versus lust. Commitment versus craving. Haley didn't stop loving her husband, Ben, but she became addicted to the rush, the dopamine hit of feeling wanted. It's not just sex, it's validation. That's why cheating isn't always about falling out of love. Sometimes it's about falling out of connection and seeking fire wherever you can find it. But here's the twist. Why did she freeze when that photo fell? Why, in the very moment her body was unraveling, did her mind suddenly clutch around an image she shouldn't care about? Was it guilt? Was it shame? Or was it something darker, a flicker of jealousy? What would you do if you were in Haley's shoes? End the affair quietly, confess everything, or stay and suffer in silence? Let me know in the comments. And if you like stories like this, messy, real, and honest, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coming.